How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back to yet another review. A little bit of Hill Farmstead time in the form of their Anna. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had this beer. Kind of a shelf beer, if you really think about it. You know what I mean? Go up there, Hill Farmstead, they usually have these pretty readily available. The only kind of shtick to all that is you kind of have to go up there to get it. But I was lucky enough to have some friends go up that way. My buddy Mark and a couple of guys from my area were actually throwing a share. I actually did a live video from it, and they wanted to end up going up to get some beers for the share up there at Hill Farmstead and get some beers for themselves. And while he's up there, he was gracious enough to actually grab me some bottles. I got a couple of them, most of them for my wedding, but yeah. Got to drink one of them, and it's going to be the one. Never reviewed it, so here we go. It's been a while since I did Hill Farmstead beer, too. Sans that kind of quick walk around one that I did not too long ago. Wasn't much of a review. Anyway, Anna, it's their Hill Farmstead Brewery Vermont Honey Ale. Government warning stuff, 6.2% alcohol by volume. Story time as they do on the side here. Anna, 1902 to 1993. Was her grandfather's sister. Hill Farmstead Brewery rests on the land that was once home to her and her 13 siblings. In her honor, this honey Farmstead ale is crafted from American malted barley, European and American hops, Vermont wildflower honey, our distinctive farmhouse yeast, and water from our well. Unfiltered and naturally carbonated, this is the ale that I dream to have shared with Anna. Then it goes on about Hill Farmstead and what they do and the things they do there. Label-wise, quintessential Hill Farmstead, pretty much the exact same thing they always do. And yeah, so let's give this sucker a pour, see what she's got. Kind of fitting to do this outside. Doing a lot of my reviews, or trying to do a lot of my reviews outside as of late. Now that I'm down here in Jersey on a farm myself, just kind of it's a little bit more fitting, or a little bit more makes sense in my brain to kind of do them outside. I like it. Maybe not the best for the camera. You probably guys get a better view of what I do when I do it up in the actual studio itself, but you get what I give you and you like it. Damn it. 2 fingers. Just a hair off Whitehead. I mean, infinitely creaminess, kind of like a Cool Whip kind of creaminess up on top, kind of rocky, just on the edges as it kind of cascades down. Pretty uniform, compact bubbles, and she's got a soft taste. A little Dirty Glass Mafia, don't know where that came from. Just washed this glass by hand like 3 times to make sure it wasn't screwed up. So, yeah, she's got a soft taste to her, nice kind of soft carbonation. Looks a nice kind of farmhousey kind of beer. Got a nose on her. It's just that bright, slightly bready, Brett-y, maybe even a little bit bready, but more Brett-y kind of funkiness. Citrus driven. You get a kind of a floral vibe, not necessarily from the honey, but from like almost like a hop addition in there. Now the honey itself, there's a sweetness there, but I'm not really sure if that's derived from the honey. I think it's more of just a kind of sweetness from the beer. It has a kind of honeysuckly kind of vibe to it, but that's, for me, a bit different than just kind of honey in beer in general. Probably the honey is either going to come off a little bit sweet if it's residual, or just going to come off a bit more drier. I got gobbled up and things like that. So, but it smells beautiful. It smells pretty. It smells like kind of out here. Let's dive in. Cheers. Really big, crisp tartness with a subtle acidity to it. Nothing too crazy, nothing that's going to make me kind of reach for the heartburn pills, but enough to let you know it's a funky beer. Crisp and clean is kind of the word here. It's kind of weird to say that when you're talking about you're talking about a kind of unfiltered kind of funky beer, but there's this kind of just cleanness, not necessarily in how the beer is processed, but in the way, kind of, I guess, Hill Farmstead and how they do their beers, and the way that they kind of do the whole kind of well water thing with the kind of natural ingredients, not really anything super over the top, kind of goofy or synthetic and stuff. That kind of cleanliness, that earthiness, not in a flavor way, but more in a kind of natural sense. Hippie shit. There you go. Kind of comes through. Yeah, just super chuggable, super drinkable. Essentially, ends up being the part of like a super kind of summer chugger in my book. Just the way that acidity comes off, and the way it comes off with that tartness, to where it's just acidic enough to let you know you're alive, and it's tart enough to let you know that it's not a regular beer, that it's a bit more funky, while at the same time staying super drinkable, while at the same time being impactful and with purpose, as opposed to just being a soft kind of generic acidic kind of beer. The way the honey kind of comes off in a little bit more drying sense, as I said before, what I assumed it would come off as, and how it drinks. I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and just super kind of gush over what Hill Farmstead does and how their beers work, but they just remind me a lot of the beers that I got into when I originally got into beer. The kind of small Belgian table beers, the kind of Saison of the world, the more drinkable, chuggable beers that I had from Belgium. Not necessarily a whole ton of Belgium. Here it's Vermont through and through, but it just reminds me of those beers and how they're made, and the vibes they kind of put off, and that it's more of a kind of, I don't want to say, I'm trying to find the perfect word to use here. I don't think I'm going to be able to think of it, but just the way it comes off. The vibes that it gives are soft and inviting, and they do the whole kind of name the beer after people and talk about their family. You kind of get that in the whole vibe of the beer itself. So, I mean, not to get too kind of esoteric and kind of out there in the middle of nowhere, but it's tasty, it's delicious, in a clean, wholesome kind of way. There you go, wholesome. Is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But yeah, delicious stuff. Yeah, so let's talk about it. It's one of the better Saison, funky farmhouse beers, because that's what it is. I mean, what they call the golden honey Vermont ale. You know, it's kind of, it's a Saison. It's one of the better ones I've had as of late. Just works for me. This is the stuff that I would love to drink all summer long. And, you know, maybe I will. I'm going actually up to Vermont for my honeymoon, for my wedding. So I'll definitely pick up some of this and grab some other stuff while I'm up there. So lucky me. But yeah, it's just super chuggable, super drinkable, and, you know, what more do you want in a beer? Value availability, I think it's like $12 for a bottle, or maybe even less. I don't remember. I forget what I paid for it. But that doesn't suck. And leave you with, if you like, what will you like this beer? If you like good beer, if you like old school beer, Belgian style beer, Saison, funky beers, and well-made beers, and bring it back from the beginning, good beer. If you like good beer, you'll like this beer, because maybe it's not for everybody. Some people just want the Haze Bro hop toddy stuff, but if you really do enjoy beer and the way it can kind of form and function, especially when it kind of encapsulates what the people who make the beer are all about, it's kind of a good deal. There you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there, if you want to talk about it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, all four of those places if you want to check me out doing social media stuff. Beer Massive. Go check that out if you want to see me doing podcasting stuff. Actually, going to be up in Vermont and kind of interviewing a couple brewers. I'm not going to say who. You have to wait to come back to find that out. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a nice Hill Farmstead right now, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.